Well, welcome back to Factorio building the Hyperbase. So this is our initial iron construction. I thought I'd just give you a bit of an overview of the base as it stands at the moment. This is our starter base. We are going to tap this supply for the Hyperbase as well. I added a little bit of so we need to leave a bit of space down here for supplying the starter base while it continues to be our key provider of resources. Solar is building quite strongly along here. Looks like it's just laid down another panel, well, another blueprint. I think it will probably start another row soon. I haven't manually laid down any of these. It's all been done by recursive blueprints with our logic here. Basically this lot just checks a whole bunch of conditions, 6 conditions. When they're all met, a little counter just ticks off just to make sure that everything really has been met and it's not just a pause. With the bots, it also makes it very easy to generate pulses. We then basically set coordinates based on a count. The count gets incremented every time we complete one of these, and so the coordinates get moved, and there's one pulse that gets sent over to the recursive blueprint deployer, which will then deploy a new blueprint. You don't want that running all the time. We found that it uses a lot of UPS, but when it's not running all the time, it's fine. UPS in general is, well, we're a quarter of the way there, which may seem excessive, but all of this actually uses quite a lot. In terms of the starter base, you can see that both the green circuits and the red circuits, well, even the blue circuits for that matter, are not really coming through as fast as we'd like. We're not fully supplying the solar panels, and we are struggling a bit with the red circuits supplying the speed module build. I've basically shut down the production module build. It's just speed modules we're waiting on. We're waiting on, in fact, 948 apparently speed modules to complete our single build, of which we need 5 of those, and that's just for the ore. So yeah, this is not going to hack it, which is why this is actually why I'm doing rocket control units first, because they're heavily circuit based, and instead of actually building the rocket control units in the first instance, we'll divert it all and just build modules in a huge build that I have in mind. But the plan for this episode is basically to duplicate this build, well, duplicate it up here in this iron. That's why I moved this, and create 3 sets of copper. We'll probably just have 1 per patch, even though, I mean, this one you could possibly support another one just directly below it. We do need some room for when we exhaust these various mines to be able to swap between them, or, you know, expand out and have somewhere to go. So I mean, there's nothing stopping us saying, well, this bit's exhausted, we'll now harvest this bit for this train and just direct it to the bottom bit. So you want some flexibility in being able to do that. So sort of 1 per area is probably quite good. I think what I'll do is I will come up here and apply a an image of this to get us going. I might even want to bring the train over, because I'd kind of like to see where, so this isn't a perfect U-turn, remember we had a overweight up here. I want to find sort of the middle of it, which might be along there actually. In fact, I'm going to just assume that it basically is. Get a blueprint and say, well, as far as a U-turn goes, not a U-turn as such, but this is what we need for the middle section of trains. let's just do that. Now, what I should be able to do is come up to here. Well, we need to come up to there, I guess, before we can get all excited about this. I want to basically build the other ore and move on to other interesting things. These things tend to bog down when you're building very, very large bases. Good, let's go up to there, and then we'll just head this way. I'll come over here to what is basically a safe siding for our train, and we'll run over to the top end of this ore. I might just find that piece that I've created and put a U next to it so it identifies it a little bit more clearly. Because now what I would like to do is probably come back here. And copy a whole bunch of this. I kind of would like to know how long we actually need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's 20. But if it went one more, I know what I'll do. I'll do this also in kind of halves. Something like that. So if we're up here, this is easily big enough. Can even rotate it and find out how far up we could go. Clearly quite far. Oh, damn it. I have some bots on me that decided they know best. Or train. O. E. There we go. Or. So, if this is anything like, let's get rid of the train stop here that I don't want. They aren't actually connected quite as well as I would like. I might need it to be something like that. We can fix this up. But anyway, that's the basic idea. So here is another ore train. Which means that anywhere down here we could build this part of the facility. And I kind of like the idea that it heads down. So I guess let's blueprint another section, which would basically be all of that. And this is ore smelting. And I have installed InfiniZoom again, so we can get the wonders of that mod and use them here. Come on, keep going. Holy jeepers, that is a big blueprint. We may have gone too far. Okay, I'll come down a bit so we can fit this one in kind of like that, but obviously the start of it needs to change somewhat, but otherwise I guess I am happy-ish with that. There does appear to be space, so let's whack that down. And I guess we'll scroll back out to a more normal size. So I don't have any track at all, but obviously we need to come from here rather than from way up here. So I guess, oh great, maybe another blueprint. Sort of this section. There isn't an exact science as far as what I'm doing. It's just whatever it takes to get the desired result. So we'll have to fill in the track for that ourselves. Oh, what are you guys thinking you're doing? No, you don't need to put beacons there. Come on. That's just going to cost us. Alright. So that deals with our iron need, kinda. Because it doesn't answer what we need to do at this other end. Oh yeah. Trees. I love wood. I mean, that one bends back on itself, but this has to come obviously out here so that these trains can kind of get together. Maybe in some sort of stacker that heads down this way. And I'm not sure whether I want I probably want the back one to have a separate route out. Come on then, trees. Just give that a bit of a wide berth so we don't try and, if we could, which we can't because we have to get through somehow. Come up to this iron patch and have a look at how our half size ore looks. This patch is not great in terms of fitting us in, it would seem. We could do something like that. Let's get a little bit out of Infinity Zoom at this point. How did that go? Did we lose a bit down there, or did we get it all? I'm not sure. And no, you're not the train stop. Yeah, we obviously missed a bit out here. So we have that, and what did I do with the major blueprint? That one. Back to Infinity Zoom. See how this one looks. Ooh. Don't you just love trees, guys? Okay, that is too close. Let's give it a bit more space. We need to get out here somewhere for that one. And what I might do even is put that there and put another one kind of close to it, because that can be coming from this patch that's sort of up in this top corner on the screen. Oh good, we're filling up with wood. That's just what I wanted. At least we're at 60 UPS, even if the frames per second is, you could say stuttering a little bit, I suppose. That would be a fair call. Let's get out of Infinity Zoom a bit. I may even be nice to the bots and do a little bit of clearing before we start laying anything here. Now, or that seems to fit pretty easily in this one. Let's get rid of the train stop image that's up here somewhere, that thing. Add our little U section. We're going to have to obviously rework that, of course. So yeah, we're a lot of a lot of blocks short of where we needed to be at this point. And that can then, they have a somewhat longer journey, which could be an issue, to come over to this stack. Is that one down from here? It's about half, like one tile down. It's easy to change it now if I was inclined. So that would be 2 of our 3 coppers, and then I was thinking I wanted this one as well, right? You can see how we desperately need a rather more powerful make everything factory at this point, and how I could do with super legs. Maybe I'll even consider putting a mod for faster armor in rather than this sort of slow guy. It's still better than using creative mod. And no, I'm not making a point about how other people choose to play. If you're wondering, that like the 10K factory, they actually use creative mod to set up their factory, and you know, they made an awesome factory, so if that's how they want to play, that's cool, but I want to actually play the game to that point. So I'm not being snarky about them at all. Them, he, and their choice to do it that way, that's fine. I'm just choosing to actually play the game to create mine. Okay, so we want this guy again. Right. I might even have it so that the U is at the bottom and it comes up out the top. Somewhat like that. And let's get in a bit closer again. See those, the U this time can come in here. And the train stop should be up here. Leading to our ore processing, not that, our ore processing. That could be under here, like so. Yeah, like so. Oh look, I hadn't actually uncovered. That's the one thing about InfiniZoom, it sort of acts as a radar, which is in a way that you perhaps don't really want it to, but I guess there's no alternative if you're uncovering more map, you kind of need to see what it is that you're uncovering, but we can tell that there's some new patches over here somewhere. So let's go and have a look. Since InfiniZoom has told us to go and have a look, we'd have found them eventually because we'd have radars down here, which maybe would be far enough to show us. But let's just have a quick peek. Here we go, here's the iron. We need to uncover it all on the map view to get a record of how big it is. It actually doesn't look that spectacular for our purposes. It is a 400, so maybe I am judging it harshly. And there was another copper just down here, wasn't there? There it is. And that is an 800. So yeah, if this one 400 dies, we have an 800 we can switch to potentially, or use it for something else, because there's plenty more that we need to do stuff with. So the next thing on the agenda is to try and make some sense of these tracks and the trains that are going to be coming off them, so that we can then feed into our 5 green circuit, red circuit builds, and then get plastic also down to these green circuit, red circuit builds. Oh, bots, what are you up to? No good for sure. Oh, the rest of them are somewhere. Oh, here we go. 43. Yeah, okay guys. That's not really what I want you to do at the moment. I just want you to come back home, and so we can see where we're at. Take stock. So we've got iron, we've got copper, 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 and potentially we could have the train that sort of sits in the middle wrap round and come out, so that there's actually well, 4 sets of iron trains coming down and 6 sets of copper trains coming down. Fact, maybe that is the best representation. So we've got to find a way to get them to go back as well. It might be the best way is for copper to just feed back on itself, but instead of crossing copper, if iron does a big loop, it might mean we need an extra iron train to make up for the fact that it's looping around. But I want as few crossovers and so on as possible, because it's not that trains can't handle it, but it's what causes you know, you don't have an issue when a train's just moving straight from point A to point B and back again. That's all very straightforward and not too difficult. Looks like there's about another 10 trains. So I really need a bit of track. Let's go back into InfiniZoom and just work out that again. Whoops, we're getting too far away. We don't need to be out that far. So yeah, so the train tracks will come down here, and then we'll have returns, and the returns for copper need to just come back in to where these tracks sort of feed back in, which is there. I think I might actually be okay with both of them feeding through here, and basically it will go to this one, and then this one will lock off, and then it will go to this one. That should be okay. They're probably more or less going to come in sync one after the other. But yeah, this one comes in here, and then in the broader scheme of things, the iron trains actually take a broad detour all the way around this iron patch, and that one will tuck in there. This one no, can't do that. This one would have to come up here, along here, and so it's a little bit awkward. This would have to move, but we can definitely move that. That would prevent any of these needing to cross over, at least in the ore provision and the ore return. I can't necessarily say the same further down, but at least that would be the case. And then obviously these two just sort of, well, this one can sort of come back here, and this one can sort of be on the outer side and come back around like that. So I do kind of like that. Oh, what's this? Is this a bot? Number 50, so that's 100. There. Now you can't do anything, bots. So I guess we kind of need to try and paint out these rails now. That'd be the next best step. And then have some mechanism by which they can feed into the green circuits, green-red circuits. And if they're going to be green and red circuits, they need both. So there's going to have to be crossover. I can't avoid that, because somehow we've got to get the iron over into the leftmost area, and we're also going to have to get plastic in there as well. I wonder if I can actually get a... What's this? I don't know if I really need that. If I get an 820 length of track, so I can see just how big these trains are. Eight 20. Okay, and if we go out of map mode, put that down. There we go. It doesn't look so dauntingly big at this point, does it? So we'll have the like of over a little bit. So yeah, let's go in a bit. But basically I think I want to go, that's a copper. We have 2 copper. One, 2, 3, 4 iron, and then a further 1, 2, 3, 4 copper. So that's like our stack of available trains. It would be really nice if I could get plastic in there as well. How much plastic would I need? I probably only really need a couple of plastic. Would they come in here, or would they come from completely outside where these are? That's something I'm not sure. I need lots and lots and lots of rail at this point. I need to get rid of some wood. And I think the this planning is going to have to be divided up over more than one episode, guys, although I may well do a little bit between times just to keep us moving. But thanks for joining me for this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next, where we will advance further on building out our Hyperbase. And remember, all of this that we're building at the moment is just for rocket control units. So that's kind of amusing, really, given just how much landscape it's taking, but there you go. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next. Bye bye for now.